We have Cheryl Nail. To the podium.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate it. As Madam Chair said, my name is Cheryl Nail. I am a proud parent of Richland 2 School District. I also happen to be a former educator, and currently I have the privilege of serving as the Community Relations Director for the Columbia Jewish Federation. Our federation is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization, as are our sister South Carolina Jewish federations in Charleston and Greenville. My portfolio includes supporting the work of our Columbia Holocaust Education Commission, directing our Jewish Community Relations Council, and working with our Jewish students at the University of South Carolina. Unsurprisingly then, this means that much of my time is spent on Holocaust education, combating anti-Semitism and racism and other forms of hate, and facilitating conversations about bias. At the end of 2020, we heard the staggering and alarming statistic that 1 in 10 Americans under the age of 40 have never heard of the Holocaust. Our federations have been working to change that through various education initiatives, such as Charleston's Remember program. Here in Columbia, our Holocaust Education Commission promotes awareness of the Holocaust through its exhibit. We have a number of schools that come through every year to see the exhibit, as well as to hear the story of a South Carolina survivor as told by their daughter or their son. The story is not easy to hear, and the exhibit is not easy to view. They both cause discomfort, and that's a really good thing. The moment that people are either comfortable with or apathetic to the atrocities of the Holocaust, we run the risk of seeing what was promised to be never again happening once more. As the mission of the Commission states, only through constant, vigilant, and accurate information will the children of this state be able to fully comprehend the enormity of the lives lost in the aftermath of this dark period in world history. By exploring the dangers of remaining silent and indifferent in the face of the oppression of, quote, the other, whether that's Jews, whether that's Muslims, whether that's BIPOC, whether that's members of the LGBTQ community, students hopefully will be on the right side of history in the present and in the future. It's important to note, though, that these lessons on anti-Semitism, racism, hate, and bias are not limited to curricula. 43% of Jewish college students, for instance, experienced and or witnessed anti-Semitic activity in 2021, and some of those incidents happened right here at the University of South Carolina. Our federations and our schools need to have the ability to address these incidents of hate and bias. People are not born with hate. Hate is learned. Thus, we believe that hate can be unlearned. But the only way that can happen is if anti-bias education takes place. This issue is so important to the Jewish community that all 3 Jewish federations wrote a joint statement along with the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League. And this is the first time that these 3 South Carolina Jewish federations have written a joint statement. And I'd ask you to please read that. I have extra copies if you didn't receive it. That way you can learn more about our work and how these bills could undermine what we're doing. Hate is a poison in our society. The antidote is unvarnished education.
Very good, thank you. Any questions? Representative Rivers.
Yes, ma'am. As you mentioned about hate and the consequences of it, and I think for me, I can draw a parallel between what's going on in Ukraine and what happens to people who are marginalized and not seen as important or not seen at all. And that's why I appreciate your comments and I appreciate this conversation, because we cannot morph into allowing that kind of stuff to happen in the United States. And whenever you disregard people, irregardless of their race or gender, do you consider that to be inappropriate?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you so much,
Thank
Ms.
you for your
Nail.
time.
Thank you for waiting here
Of
and
course.
being here.